I'm Andrea, and I'm a certified wellness coach with the International Association of Wellness Professionals. And I don't know about you guys, but over these past few months, especially with the craziness of this year and the uncertainty of this year, I've been feeling a little bit like I've been in survival mode. And I've heard that from a lot of people. They just feel like they're trying to get day to day, and they feel like they're just trying to survive day to day and get their basic needs met, because none of us are really certain what's going to happen next, right? So much has already been stripped from us this year. Vacations and life events and holidays have already have been lost, right? So I don't know about you, but that's where I'm feeling stuck and where I am. And so I started thinking about ways that I could really not just help myself, but to help you just be in survival mode during this time, just to be in this time, but how to also, for all of us, how to work in it and through it during this time as we all learn to live in a new normal, as we all learn how to establish our new normal, which is happening and is going to happen. And as we all kind of work through this transition together, I hope that this video helps somebody out there who maybe feels like this whole transition and all of this stuff that's going on right now is just very overwhelming for them. Because it is. All of this is very overwhelming. And so a lot of us have said and mentioned that, hey, I feel like I'm in survival mode. Like I'm just simply trying to survive. And I just want life to go back to normal. Well, normal as we know it, right? Because that's exactly what transition does. Normal as we know it is gone. And so now we're trying to establish a new normal. And this actually taps into the idea that Abraham Maslow came up with back in the 40s. He was a psychologist. And he studied what motivates humans and what motivates us in our human nature. And one of the things he realized was that we can't strive to be better people. We can't strive to better our relationships or ourselves unless our basic needs are met. Like he was talking about food, water, safety, a roof over our head, right? He was talking about surviving. Unless, as humans, we feel like we can survive on a day-to-day basis, establishing, growing relationships, growing in who we are not actually possible. So you can't actually really motivate, according to his theory, you can't really motivate a human who feels like they're threatened, who feels like there's uncertainty in their life, who feels like they're simply surviving. So think about everybody out there right now who feels like they're in survival mode and feels like they've been lazy, maybe slacking, maybe feels like they have hurt some relationships, feel like they have gone back to old bad habits, all these different things. Well, that's actually really normal because all of that takes work and all of that happens when we feel safe in our lives, which not a lot of people are feeling very safe and secure in their lives right now. So we're simply surviving. And so as I kind of thought about that and have been talking with a lot of people, I realized that really one of the first things I think we need to do for ourselves, and this is tip 1 for you, is simply to acknowledge that we're in survival mode. So many people don't want to acknowledge that that's where they're at, and that makes a huge difference. Because they want to say, I should be doing something, right? I should be forming a new hobby. I should be on a Zoom call every single night with all my friends. I should be so much more productive now that I'm home, right? There's all these shoulds. I should. But when we're in survival mode, it's not realistic. And so there's a lot of shame that people are feeling right now. And maybe you're one of those people where you're actually feeling shame because I'm far more idle than I want to be, or I haven't picked up a new hobby and look at all this extra time that I have, or I have not kept up with anybody and I really should be talking to people on the phone more, right? So it's kind of brought this idea of shame. The first thing we need to do is acknowledge where we are. And acknowledging that we're in survival mode can grant you some grace and give you some grace that, hey, we're here right now. Normal is not normal. Life's a little crazy and we're all in transition, and that is okay. So I started to notice that as people went, yeah, I just started acknowledging it, they started becoming more comfortable with what was going on around us. And I noticed I started becoming more comfortable with what was going on. The other thing I noticed I started doing and then started talking with others about was that I started inserting little things that made my day feel more normal. So I started almost forming like these little routines, like doing dishes at the same time every morning, or walking the dog at the same time 3 times a day, right? And so like just so I could get outside for a little bit of time 3 times a day because I was working from home. So I noticed myself establishing these little itty bitty things that made my day feel more normal. And what I noticed that did was it actually made my day feel, or myself feel, more secure. And I noticed that with a lot of people, that they started implementing little things into their day that made them feel safer, that made it feel more normal, that made them feel more secure. And so there's my second tip for you. Find out what those things are that you have kind of inserted into your day and make you feel more secure and safe. Write those down, right? When you write them down, you make yourself aware of them. And you can use that as a reminder that it's these things that make me feel normal and safe. So when things get crazy and when you feel like everything is out of your control again, and you feel like you're just simply trying to survive, pull out that list and maybe start doing those things again. Okay, this made me feel normal. That's what I'm going to do again. That actually leads me to my third tip of starting to establish routines again. And I'm not talking these big elaborate routines, but what establishing routines in your life does is it signals your mind that there's safety, that there's enough normal that it's okay to put things in order, right? It gives your mind a sense of safety. So whether it's a simple morning routine or maybe an evening routine, or maybe you do the dishes at the same time every day, followed by something else, form that routine so that your mind senses a safety, a plateau, a normal. So acknowledging it, making note of those things that make you feel safe, and starting to put some sort of small routine back into your life are 3 ways that could really help you to not just be okay and be in survival mode, but to also slowly help you to work through it and out of it. Because as routines are established, as those things that make you feel safe are done more, the more you're going to feel like you're not simply surviving because you have more control over what's happening. So if you're somebody right now who is really struggling, who is really finding difficulty being okay with the uncertainty, and let's face it, none of us are okay with the uncertainty, but you're really struggling, acknowledge that. Maybe journal, write down what emotions you're feeling around it. Is it fear? Is it anger? Is it sadness? What are those emotions that you're feeling around it? And then know how those activities that you do during the day make you feel. When you insert those into your day, do you feel a sense of contentment, of calm, of happiness in the midst of the chaos? Because those are the things that you want to hang on to in the midst of the chaos. Because those are the things that make you feel safe in survival. So as you are working through this time, as we all are, find the things that make you feel safe. Find those things that make you feel you're normal. But grant yourself grace in knowing that this is not an easy time. And it's going to take time for all of us to establish our normalcy again. So I encourage you, journal, take care of yourself, find your sense of normalcy, find your new routine. But above all, please take care of yourself. And I'll see you next time.